I am 70 years old, and the ceiling above this hospital bed knows the truth about my life. It's funny what you stare at when you've got nothing left to do but think. This ceiling tile above me has a brown stain shaped like a crooked map. I've been studying it for 3 days now. 3 days of lying here with the smell of antiseptic burning the inside of my nose and the steady little beep, beep, beep of the monitor beside me, reminding me my heart is still working, barely. And every few minutes, my eyes drift to the same place, that metal tray beside the bed. There's a glass of water on it, a little plastic cup with pills, and my phone, cracked straight across the middle like a spider web froze inside the glass. I keep picking it up, checking it, turning the screen on. Nothing. No messages, no missed calls, no little red dots asking for my attention. Just my own reflection staring back at me through the fracture in the glass. You'd think a man would get used to silence after a while, but you don't. Silence gets heavier every hour, like someone stacking bricks on your chest. The hallway outside smells like bleach and old flowers. Nurses' shoes squeak on the floor every now and then. A cart rattles past. Someone coughs in another room. But this phone, this thing used to scream all day long, buzzing, ringing, lighting up. 40 years of my life, that sound ran my world. And now it sits there like a dead fish. So listen to me for a second. Really listen. If your phone is buzzing all day because of work, if you're always saying just a second, if you're always telling your family you'll talk later, stop. I'm not joking. Stop before the silence becomes permanent. Because I thought I was doing the right thing. For 40 years I believed a lie so big I built my whole life on it. I believed that providing money made me a good man. That was the lie. Oh, I was good at it too. Damn good. I climbed ladders people spend their whole lives trying to reach. Corner offices, bonuses with more zeros than my father ever saw in his entire life. Fancy coffee that smelled like burnt chocolate, and printer rooms that always smelled like warm paper and ink. My phone rang all the time back then. Clients, partners, deals, late-night emergencies that only I could fix. And every time it rang, I felt important, needed, like a hero walking into a burning building. I'd answer it anywhere, in the car, at dinner, standing in the middle of the living room while my family waited for me to finish. I used to say the same thing over and over. This is important. Or my favorite one. This pays for everything you have. God, I said that one a lot. See, I convinced myself the money made up for everything. Missed a birthday? Well, there's a bigger present under the tree. Missed a recital? The college fund is growing. Missed another dinner? Look at that new car in the driveway. I thought I was a damn good father, a damn good husband, because the lights stayed on, because the mortgage got paid, because the fridge was always full. Meanwhile, there were little sounds happening in my house that I ignored. My daughter asking for help with homework, my son knocking on my office door, my wife standing in the kitchen doorway wanting to talk about her day. I remember the smell of dinners I never tasted, roast chicken, garlic, fresh bread. I remember walking past the table with my phone pressed to my ear while my family sat there eating. I'd wave at them like a politician, smile, keep walking. Big call, I'd mouth silently, and they would nod, always so understanding. That's the thing about people who love you. They adjust. They shrink their needs. They start telling themselves you're busy. They start telling themselves you're doing it for them. And I believe that story too, for 40 years. But lies age badly, and eventually the truth shows up like a debt collector. I remember the night that truth kicked my door in. I was 58, rainy Tuesday night. I remember that clearly, rain hitting the windows like handfuls of gravel, the kind of rain that makes the house feel warm and sealed off in the world. My wife had cooked pot roast. You could smell it the second you opened the door, rich and heavy and slow cooked all afternoon. Carrots, onions, that thick gravy smell filling the whole house. My kids were grown, but they were visiting. Everyone sitting around the dining table, and there I was, physically present, mentally somewhere else. Phone in my hand under the table, thumb moving like a machine. Emails, messages, numbers. There was a deal happening, big one. I remember that too. My phone kept buzzing like an angry hornet. My wife kept looking at me, not angry, just tired. That kind of tired that settles behind someone's eyes after years of the same disappointment. Finally, she said my name, Thomas. I looked up for half a second. Yeah? She said something I had probably heard 100 times before. You're not really here anymore. And I did what men like me always do. I laughed it off, said something stupid like, I'm right here, aren't I? My phone buzzed again. I looked down, started typing. The room went quiet. You ever notice how silence can feel thick, like the air gets heavier? She spoke again. Her voice was shaking this time. I feel alone even when you're sitting in the same room. I didn't even look up. I said the sentence I wish I could erase from history. This pays for everything you have. Cold, sharp, like a slap made of words. Chairs scraped. Someone shifted. I remember the refrigerator humming, the rain on the glass, the smell of that pot roast getting stronger as the food cooled. Then I heard a strange sound, a chair tipping, my wife gasping. When I looked up, she was on the floor, hands clutching her chest, face pale, my daughter screaming, my son knocking over a glass of water as he rushed toward her. Everything exploded into motion, chairs sliding, phones dialing, my own heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. Sirens later, hospital lights, bright white hallways that smelled like rubbing alcohol, doctors rushing past, and then nothing, just a hallway chair and the sound of a vending machine humming in the corner. My kids sat across from me, but nobody looked at me. Nobody asked me anything. Nobody leaned on me. That's when the truth finally slid into the room and sat beside me. I had trained them for decades. I trained them not to need me, not emotionally, not really. Because every time they reached for me, I was somewhere else, answering another call, chasing another deal. 40 years of lessons, and they learned them perfectly. My wife survived that night, by the way, but something else didn't. something quiet, something invisible. Years passed after that. People moved away. Lives grew in different directions. Phone calls became holidays, then birthdays, then less. And now here I am, 70 years old, back in a hospital room again. Same smell of bleach in the air, same humming machines. But this time it's just me and that phone on the metal tray. Cracked screen, dark. I check it anyway. Old habits die slow. Sometimes I scroll through old pictures, birthday cakes, Christmas mornings, vacations where everyone is smiling. And in half the photos, I'm turned sideways, phone against my ear, one foot already somewhere else. You want to know the worst part? Nobody's mad anymore. Anger would mean they still expected something from me. No, this is quieter than that. They just built their lives without me in the center, efficient, self-sufficient, just like I taught them. So now the only sounds in this room are the IV drip and the monitor and the hallway cart rolling past every few hours, and that ceiling above me telling the truth I avoided for 40 years. Now let me talk to you. Yeah, you, the one holding a phone right now. Maybe you're half listening to your kid while you scroll. Maybe your partner is talking in the background while you answer one quick message. You think it's harmless. You think you'll make it up later. You think providing is the same thing as being present. Listen carefully. It isn't. Money keeps people alive. Attention makes them feel loved. And those two things are not the same. Your kids won't remember the promotion. They'll remember the empty chair. Your spouse won't frame your bonus check. They'll remember eating dinner alone while you stood in the hallway whispering into a glowing screen. One day the work calls stop. Trust me, they always stop. And when they do, the only people left to call you are the ones you gave your time to. So put the damn phone down tonight. Sit at the table. Listen to the boring stories. Laugh at the dumb jokes. Be there, fully there. Because if you keep choosing that screen over the people in front of you, you're training them not to need you. And one day you'll wake up in a quiet hospital room like this, staring at a cracked phone, waiting for it to light up, while the ceiling above you finally tells the truth. And by then, it'll be too late not to become me.